Today we're looking at the Optimus 360 gauge adapter. This is a new product from TechT Paintball that runs in the $40 to $45 range. What this is an inline adapter with a male ASA and female ASA, and then also a gauge port where you can screw in the gauge of your choice. It does not come with this gauge. ASA threads like this are the same threads that are found on the air input of your gun and on your screw-in preset, screw-in HPA bottle or CO2 tank. What this lets you do is install this between your air source and your paintball gun so that you know the exact input pressure coming out of your air system and into your gun. This is critical for proper operation of your gun and setting the velocity. You can also use this when installed to identify shoot down problems. If your air system is not supplying enough air when you're shooting quickly, you can actually see the needle drop on the gauge while you're shooting. This would be a problem with your air system or air source, not necessarily with the gun itself. The Optimus 360 gauge adapter is called 360 because of its unique mounting design. There are 3 pieces to this. The first is the thread cap, which has the ASA thread which installs up into the gun, and then there is the body, and those are 2 separate parts that are actually held together by an air through screw. That comes out and you see that air passes straight through that screw, so it would come out of your air system or reg through the screw, up through the threads, and then into your gun. The unique mounting feature is found between these 2 parts. They don't screw together. They're held in place by a set of 3 pins, and they're a little snug. So those 3 pins are on the body here, and on the thread cap are a series of 9 holes. What that lets you do is adjust where your gauge port shows up. So however this screws into your gun, you can choose where you want the gauge port to be. Once you find where you like it, just kind of push that together, drop your screw in, and using a 3/16 Allen wrench, screw that together, and you'll see as I screw it, that snugs those 2 pieces together. This makes a very secure fit with no wobble. It feels like a single piece. No turning, just very secure. I've seen other designs that use a locking ring at this point to accomplish the same goal. They tend to slip and can be awkward to adjust. Once this is set, it's not going anywhere. The seals on this are just 2 standard O-rings, Buna O-rings. There's one on the top, and there is one that seals between the 2 parts, and that's an internal O-ring in the thread cap itself. It's very easy to get to. Just get those 2 pieces apart, and then that's an internal O-ring set down inside here and can be taken out with an O-ring pick. Unique feature about this gauge adapter is it comes with a second thread cap. Now when you look at these, you probably won't be able to tell much, if any, difference. They're the same height. They are both ASA threads. The blue cap is designed for dye paintball guns. In 2006, 7, and 8, dye's threads seem to vary a bit from the standard. They were not really supposed to, but they did, and we often found it was awkward to get aftermarket regs to screw up into the ASA of the dye guns. So TechT has created this second thread cap. There's a little more material taken off these threads to allow for the variance in some of those dye ASAs. So when you use this blue thread cap, which can't be seen when you screw it into the gun, so it won't matter that it's blue. When you use this thread cap, it will for sure screw into any of those dye ASAs. This is not the thread cap for the newer DM9 threads, although TechT does make one of those also. Once again, this does not come with a gauge. You want to make sure to choose an appropriate gauge for what you're trying to measure. If you have a low pressure gun, you don't want to get a 6,000 psi gauge at this point. It won't register here very well, and even if it does, you won't be able to see it. You want to have a gauge that is in the range of what you're measuring. This happens to be a 200 psi gauge, but what you want will vary from gun to gun. Do a quick reassembly with the O-ring on top. Internal O-rings can be a little tricky. There's an internal groove that they slide in there, and you want to push that in, and I will often use a Allen wrench to then push that in the rest of the way, and they snap into place. Once they come in and out once or twice, it's quite easy. Reassemble the thread cap back on there, and the screw. Which you can see through the port there. Once again, as I screw it in, that will snug those two pieces together. Your gauge would fit on here, and of course you would want some thread tape on your gauge so it doesn't leak. This is just for demonstration there. Just like all TechT products, the Optimus gauge adapter also comes with its own serial number. This is a serial number unique to every single accessory from TechT. Various companies have tried to copy their designs and even sell. Some companies have even been selling products under the TechT name that are not true TechT products. So make sure where you get it, they are able to provide you this serial numbered item on every one they send out. So that was the TechT Optimus 360 gauge adapter. Also in this video you have seen our probes. This is just a simple 4-piece probe set that we sell. Very handy, very sharp. The screw in here used a 3/16 Allen wrench, which is you can get separately, or of course you can get a 13-piece ball end kit like this. And always handy the magnetic tray for all your parts and pieces while you're working on guns. Make sure you're not losing anything. Overall, I'd be happy to recommend this. It's a very snug fit and looks good. Good enough that you could either use it as a permanent mount or just as a tool. Very valuable tool for a player or an airsmith to help fine-tune your gun.